So from when I was little, I said I wanted to be a scientist. And my family was like, what is a scientist? How can you make a living as a scientist? And they really pushed hard on, a doctor is a scientist, a physician is it's close enough, it's the same thing. And so that's how I ended up in medicine. But halfway through, I realized I was in the wrong place. And I put a pause on my medical education for a couple of years and went to the National Institutes of Health. But in medical school, I needed some balance. And so I had picked up art again, and I was taking classes at one of the community centers. While I was there, it felt like there was a lot of similarity between the process of doing science and the process of doing art. I thought, wouldn't it be great if artists and scientists collaborated together, or somehow bring art into science or science into art? The idea for it began several years ago with one of my art mentors from the Corcoran. And we used to have long discussions about computer-generated art and who is the artist whenever a computer makes art, and can a computer make art good enough without a human involved, and would that pass the bar for art? And my thought is computers can and will, and maybe not today, but in the future, I think so. And so if you know yourself enough to know what is good art for me, what is good art, what compels me, then you can tell a computer to then do those sort of things. By tell, so very loosely in the terms of tell. I don't want to say, draw this, draw that, because then it's me doing that. But you can give a certain set of rules that a computer can follow to then produce the art. And so that's what Curie has started out being. The foundation of Curie is a lot of what I was doing in science. So it's really simple rules, but simple rules does not mean that the outcome is simple. Curie's original work was just a random walk, which is how a particle moves through space. So it's just really basic physics. And then I started to add things. So the core is randomness. That's how Curie makes her decisions. But I've noticed that when things are purely random, they don't feel as interesting. And a lot of times it's heard in layman's terms as the 80-20 rule. So instead of pure randomness, I add in this type of structure to the randomness. And it's one that's more familiar to us. Because Curie, whenever she picks a color, it's just that single color. But if you look at the works of Curie, you find that it's a mixture of color in it. So she might pick a color, and that will be her palette, and she'll draw with it for a while, and then she'll put that down and then pick up a different color and then draw over it. So it's this iterative. And then what I'm adding to now is more machine learning. So for images that start with a photograph, I would like Curie so I'm trying to have Curie make collages. And so when you make a collage, you pick out the elements. And so that requires some machine learning in order for the computer to decide, well, what is this element? And so that's the process that I'm working on now, which is not quite done yet. So to be continued, yeah.